You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here is your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
I am Rich Muller from Centerville on the eastern shore of Maryland.
And I am Glenn the Geek from Ocala, Florida, and you are listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for January 25th, episode 3351. It's the Horse Husbands episode. Good morning, Horse World.
Now, from the Man Cave at the Horse Radio Network, the monthly Horse Husbands episode. This one is for you guys. No horsewomen allowed.
Well, today we're joined by two horse husbands. Adam Humphries tells us about his wife's purchase of a horse while she was away in France. And Auditor Melanie's husband, Mike, served in 3 branches of the military, and then he met a horse girl. We're going to hear all about that in today's show. Rich, thanks for joining me again. Now, your situation changes over the winter. You guys live in Maryland, but then she says, screw you, and is out for the winter.
It's not so much screw you.
Okay, all right.
She just doesn't deal with the winter. The ground freezes here usually. The last few years hasn't. But she basically, Mogi, my wife, Mogi Bearden Muller, she moves to Aiken, South Carolina from December until April.
A long time. Wow. Now, does she have her own farm down there? Does she rent or?
There is a farm. Actually, the owner of our farm that we're on in Maryland owns a piece of property down there in Aiken, and it's 20 acres with a 12-stall barn, living accommodations above the barn. Mogi takes 2 working students down there, and how many horses she can take? As many as she can take.
How many does she take? Do you know?
Right now, I believe there's 10 to 12.
Wow, she has a lot of horses down there.
Yeah.
Now, does she show them all?
No.
Okay.
Mogi actually doesn't show any of them, as far as I know. At this point in time, 3 of them are retired horses, so they just kind of hang out. And then she has clients and working students, or not really working students, but she has students, but they have to be, they're in full training with her.
Oh, cool.
And
well, how cool for them to get to go to Aiken in the winter.
Yeah. And most of them are, well, right now there's 2 of them that they do online schooling and whatnot.
Oh, wow.
So they get to go down there and train with Mogi, and she takes them to the various events down there. There's quite a few, so it's nice that. And then during the week they have Bruce's Field, which opens up, and they have can do jumper rounds, dressage tests, and all sorts of really cool things down there.
Yeah, if you for listeners, if you've never been to Aiken, it is worth a visit. Especially in the wintertime when all the stuff's going on. They have polo, they have dressage, they have eventing is the big thing now. A lot of that's a lot of them are moving to Ocala now, but it's still real big there.
Yeah,
and then polo's big there too. So yeah, it is a neat little. It's just a cool. It's almost like a New England town's been plopped in the South.
Yeah. The polos, I believe, spring, summer, and early fall, and then they leave. It's like a rotation.
Yeah.
The eventers come in the either the late fall or later winter time and stay through the spring.
We're going to be up there. Helena, who's good friends of ours, my first co-host, actually, moved there, and we're going to go up for a week in March. So we're going to spend a week with Helena up in Aiken. I work from up there. I just like it there. And a shout out to Aiken Saddlery, Amy Hebert, who has the same last name as me, but we don't think we're related, although we might be. Who knows? But she's super nice, and Aiken Saddlery is a great place. If you get to Aiken, you have to go there.
It's awesome. And all remodeled now.
Yeah. I mean, meant much bigger. Remember, it used to be a tight little store, jam-packed full of stuff.
And it was confusing. I was there, during Christmas time and driving in there going, whoa, wait. Where do I go now?
It is the store in Aiken, too.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad. So you stay home because you have a job. So
yes.
You're home for like a loan. Now, did she leave you with any horses or?
No horses, thank God.
Oh wow, this is like heaven for you right now.
Yeah. She used to do that. That was. We had 3 horses at one time that got left behind every year, and that was no fun. I'd get up at 5:30 in the morning, go out in the pitch black, and back then the winters were a lot harsher. And so
although we're speaking this week when it's like the coldest week in the whole country, right? So
yeah. Well, now I have a better house that we live in now and whatnot. And I have a garage. So I go out and get in the car and it's nice and dry and drive away.
There's something to be said about chipping ice off a car.
Yep. Had to chip ice off the car. And then I did the worst thing. I would get up in the morning, take a shower, and then get my work clothes on and then throw a pair of coveralls over the work clothes to go out to feed the horses. And I'd get outside, my hair would freeze, and then I'd do the thing you're not supposed to do and put hot water on the windows and stuff so I could see out of the car.
Not supposed
and
to do
get
that.
out to the barn, feed the horses, come back, go to open my driver's door, and it would freeze closed. Froze closed. Yeah. Not only the door would be frozen, but then when I'd go to reshut it, the lock would freeze. So
I don't
the
miss
door
those
wouldn't
days. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't miss those days either. So no horses to deal with in the morning, which is nice. This
is vacation time for you, basically.
No. No, I have to fix the barn.
Everything they broke over the summer, now you have to fix.
Yeah, everything that broke over the summer that got patched and everything, I get to work on that. So that and all the other things, the cars that I have here that stay here, I have to fix those during the wintertime. And then during the summertime, I fix the trucks and the trailers and everything else that's been down in Aiken all winter long. So.
Well, we have to get to our guests because they're just looking forward to talking to them. They're going to be a lot of fun. But I wanted to mention that I was a guest on Adulting with Horses, one of the shows here on the Horse Radio Network. And I was being on there speaking about being a horse husband. You can check it out if you haven't heard it yet on episode 8 of Adulting with Horses on any podcast player. But Heather said something. Heather's one of the hosts there, and she's a lot of fun. Actually, her and her co-host are going on the cruise with us in a couple of weeks. So we're going to get to hang out with Heather and Natalie. But Heather wrote, horse husbands or partners in general tend to fall into 3 categories. All in and super horsey. Number 2, like to participate in your hobby, but not passionate about them. And number 3, not really interested at all. And she says, of course, there can be variations of these categories. And I think you and I kind of are variation of 2 of the categories.
Yeah.
But, I think she was pretty accurate about that. From what we've seen in all the horse husbands I've spoken to over the years, that you tend to be, and I think that can change too with time, don't you?
Yeah. I think the not interested at all, they tend to gravitate into the second category.
Yes.
They like to participate.
Or they gravitate out into divorce.
Yeah. It's either one or the other. So, but I haven't talked to very many people that aren't interested at all.
Yeah, we have over the years. We've talked to some, and I actually met somebody the other day who that's what happened. They were dating. He couldn't handle the horse thing, and then they were out. So, okay. I mean, it does that happens more than you think it does. It usually is before marriage that they bail because they figure out, and it's usually time. They're just jealous of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I was too. I think the younger you are when you meet the horse girl and you're not a horse person, the more immature you are about the time and want to spend all the time with her, and you realize you can't, and you either figure that out or you're gone.
Yeah. Well, that's like what I did in my past life, where I did that break when I was 18.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
That's true.
So the girls don't pay attention to you, and you go out and find the other girls that will pay attention. And then you figure out that all they want to do is have fun and nothing else. But
not a lot of substance there sometimes. Yeah.
It's very shallow in that.
Yeah.
So and then you realize those other girls, actually, they have a purpose in life.
That's right. They have something they're passionate about.
It might not be a good purpose, but they have a purpose.
So anyway, Heather wrote that. I thought that was interesting. And Heather, you're absolutely right. I think there is variations of that. And I think you probably do all three at some point. And if you've been around and been married for a long time, you're going to end up in all three at some point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, very good. Well, let's get to our first guest. Can you introduce him for us? Right, and we're going to get to him right after this word from U.S. Rider, but we have Adam coming up, right?
Yep.
Even under the best circumstances, travel is stressful for horses. We've all been there, stuck on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. You can make the journey knowing that U.S. Rider is there for you. Get peace of mind on the road with U.S. Rider's nationwide 24/7 roadside assistance coverage for both you and your horse. Join today at usrider.org.
Okay, and our first guest up is Adam Humphries, boyfriend and significant other of Emily Hassman, who is a client of my wife's Mogi Beard and Mullers.
Adam, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Glenn. Thanks for having me on.
So I heard that your mom had horses. So you were exposed to this long before you married it.
Yes. So my mom was, certified crazy horse girl herself. So I kind of grew up into it, which gave me a good primer for entering into it with Emily.
Okay, but let's stop there. What'd your mom do? What kind of riding did she do?
So she is English, standard hunter jumper sort of thing.
Okay.
I was always a little more into Western, so I learned English kind of against my will because every 7-year-old boy wants to be a cowboy.
Yep.
So I learned English first and then transferred into Western a little bit later on.
Did she drag you into horses, or did you go into voluntarily when you were a kid?
I don't know that it was necessarily voluntary. It was just, from as far back as I can remember, it was just like, load the kids into the station wagon and we went to the barn, and that's just what life was for us as kids.
Mm-hmm. And did you have a lot of horses? Were there a lot of them?
So she had a retired racehorse named Max. And then once my older sister and I got a little bit older, she got us a quarter horse to share.
How'd that go?
Not great for us. So her name was Cinnamon, and she was just as fiery as her name might suggest. She spooked at everything. The wind, if my breathing changed, she would buck us off at any opportunity. I think it was the highlight of her day was to just buck a child off her back.
Well, you learned how to bounce.
I actually never got, because she would go into these bucking fits, and my only claim to fame in horses is that I've never been properly bucked off. She would go into a bucking fit, and I would hang on like a drowning cat, and then by the time it was over, I was like wrapped around her neck, and then I would slide off and hit the ground. But I never got properly thrown. I got good at hanging on. Was
your sister really into it too? Horses?
My sister was much more into it than I was. So her old bedroom in my mom's house still to this day has little horse figurines on every shelf on the walls, and tapestries and all that thing.
Is she now?
So she got out of it at the same time that my mom got out of it. We never had horses again in our family. And then she married an airman. She lives in Japan now, so she doesn't really get the opportunity to ride.
So why did your mom bail?
So it was just kind of just time and money. She, single mom, 3 kids. It just became too much.
Taking care of 3 kids is expensive enough, let alone horses.
Yes. Yes. And I think the 3 kids were cheaper than the 1 horse, to be honest.
Well, I guess I was lucky. There's 3 kids and we had multiple horses when I was growing up. But that can be a curse also.
For sure. They rack up the expenses quite quickly.
So, but now, Adam, you never properly got bucked off, but sounds like you were the cowboy of the family. So you should have been in a Western saddle.
Yeah. So I begged for years. And I think it was the last year that we had our horses that I got a Western saddle for Christmas, and I still have it actually.
Okay.
And so I got about a year of Western in before we kind of got out of riding.
So, and I'm sure you don't fit in that saddle anymore.
No, but I have a bigger one now.
Yeah, I remember my Western saddles when I was a kid. It wouldn't work now.
No.
So, I think Kayla had one of those when she was younger too. My daughter.
Yeah, she'd probably still fit in it though. She
I think I have a picture of her in one.
So then you got a break. How'd you meet Emily? And then, let's be honest now, she's never going to listen to this. She's not allowed. So you met her and went, oh, she's a horse girl. Do I really want to do this again? Did that go through your mind at all?
It's actually funny. So the way we met, I actually, super modern 21st century relationship starting out here. I popped up in her Facebook people you might know. We had a couple of mutual friends, did not know each other. And I guess she thought I was cute. So she added me on Facebook, and I was at a time where my business had been expanding quite a bit, and I was getting a lot of random friend requests from people that were trying to sell me something. And I saw she worked in insurance. And I was like, she's going to try to sell me insurance. And but I was like, she's really cute. And I looked at her profile, and everything was, I saw her horse and her dog, and she liked camping and hiking and all the things that I like. And
she didn't have an Asian name and from Thailand like the other ones we get all the time.
Right. Exactly. And then, so it just kind of started that way. Our first date was at a dog park, and it actually, she was very strategic about this, because I really got very slowly and gently eased back into the horse life, because the horse that she had at the time, he's like semi-retired thoroughbred. And so we would go out to the barn, maybe once a week. And, I'd go help her muck stalls and do whatever she was doing out at the barn. But it wasn't like this all-consuming aspect of her life at the time. And then, of course, she got Clem. She's been training with Mogi. And it's all of a sudden become just a much bigger part of our lives. So she kind of conned me into it a little bit. But here we are.
Well, I'm still stuck on somebody actually responded to people you might know on Facebook. I've seen, we all look at that, but I've never actually friended anybody from that list.
Yeah, that's what got her. Just, I think my picture at the time was me all scruffy on a job site somewhere. And she was like, yep, that's the one. So
what do you do?
Every time she complains about me, I'm like, you picked this. You chose this.
Yeah. She picked a hard worker. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, and she is, like you said on your bio, she is very go, go, go. I cannot believe she comes out here as late as she does to clean stalls for Mogi and drags you out with her.
She is every bit as hard a worker as I am. And I used to think that I, got a lot done and had a lot going on in my life, but I can barely keep up with her. That's why I end up at the barn so often, because if I want to spend time with her, she's going to the barn and I got to go with her if I want to see her.
What do you do?
So I am a general contractor. I do mostly residential remodeling.
Oh, cool. Wow, you picked the right job, too. There's so much need for that right now.
Yeah,
there really is. There really is.
Yeah. And then when you're around the horses, they break everything, so you have to fix it all.
Yes, I have had quite a few, midnight fence mending sessions.
Yeah, I know. And you helped me before too.
Yeah. And I can't remember what we were. Oh, she was going to do the stalls over there.
Yep.
And we pulled up. I saw you guys working on the fence, and I was like, this is way more my speed than mucking stalls. So I'm going to go help with the fence.
Yeah. With the flashlight and I think zip ties and a bunch of other stuff. So
it's always handy to have that one contractor friend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But do you hate it as much as the doctors do? You know, you always have that doctor friend who the friends always ask him opinions about stuff. Do you hate it as much as they do, or are you okay with it? Asking if, my such and such broke, what do I do?
So it really, honestly, it depends on the person, because I have friends who call me literally almost every day, and they're like, what do I do about this? What do I do about that? And I'm like, I'm going to have to start charging you like a consult fee or something. But I got
Rich isn't one of those, is he? Rich.
I am. No, I don't bother him, but I get the same thing for my car's broken. What do I need to do?
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you're right.
So it is one of those things where
I don't get those calls. Nobody asked me about podcasting, so I'm safe. Okay.
Well, if I ever start one, I'll be sure to call you.
Okay.
Okay. It's not working right, Glenn. Fix it.
I hear that from my own hosts. I don't usually hear that from others. So what does Emily do? What kind of riding?
So she is big into eventing right now.
Oh, cool.
I think she came up more hunter jumper, but has really, kind of jumped with both feet into eventing in the last year.
Yeah, she's doing quite well too. She went to her first, not a recognized event, but her first unrecognized event and won. So,
oh wow.
So Mogi got her out, and she is all in too. She is so great, positive attitude, and and her horse is going great, and she's working really hard. So
yeah, that's the thing with Emily. She decides she wants to do something, and it's full throttle. Like she's fully committed. She's like, this is what I'm doing right now, and I'm just along for the ride.
That's apparently how she got you. So that's how it all starts.
and it works great, because I'm very go with the flow, and she's much more like, this is how it is. So it's perfectly balanced. It's great.
How involved are you in the horse stuff?
So I don't do as much with her and Clem, because she has Clem at a different barn than our other ones. But at her parents' farm, we have her retired gelding, we have a donkey, and then we have my horse. And my shop is also at her parents' farm. So I can't even say that I, take at least 50% of it, because she's still, Emily being Emily, she's out there all the time. We, just spent, I don't know how many hours this morning cleaning the barn, but with the boys that we keep at her parents' property, I'm very, very heavily involved. I do, all the barn chores when it's my turn to do it, or when it works better for my schedule to do it.
And you have a horse?
The donkey.
Yeah, we got to hear about your horses.
Yeah, so the donkey, I love this donkey. Oh my! And it sounds weird, but this is the most photogenic donkey I've ever seen in my life. Like, every picture you take of him looks like professional photography. Like, he's all majestic and everything, and then the two horses are just like dirt balls. They're always looking a mess, but I think we give them a good life.
And what tell us about your horse?
So that was a fun one, because it was last year around the time that Emily was starting to get much more serious about her riding, and she was on a riverboat cruise through France, and very limited cell signal. We maybe got to talk once a day, and I get a text from her, and she's like, "I just bought you a horse," and I'm like, "In Europe?" And she's like, "No, in Felton, Delaware." Like, what do you? And I was like, "Well, I had no other information to go on," so I was a little confused about that. But it was a friend of hers had ended up with this horse, and he needed a lot. He hadn't been treated very well in his previous life, so it took a lot to get him healthy enough to ride. But he was already he had been ridden as a Western horse, which is what I wanted to do. So it was really a perfect fit. And so we just, we do trail rides, and we took him up to Fair Hill a couple times. We do Blackbird a lot.
And what's his name?
His name's Cisco.
Okay, cool. Rich?
Yep. No, sounds like a great horse and everything. So, but you said that you like the Western aspect because you can fit a couple beers in your saddlebags.
Yeah, and I have a conspiracy theory that all along that was Emily's plan. Well, and actually, I mean, it was partly, she's like, I spend all my spare time riding. I might as well get you a horse so that we can ride together and you can, share in this part of my world. But I will say, maybe 3 weeks after she got me the horse, she got me, a little set, like a pommel bag for the saddle. And she was like, and it fits beer. Oh. So I think that's why this all came about.
Okay. Well, that'll get you out there on the trail.
No complaints from me, but I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Now I just have to get a horse and then we can all go riding together.
Well, I think we just got I think we're about to get our Brender up back, so we'll have 2 horse trailers. So anytime you want to tag along.
Okay. Well, first I got to get a horse. So
yeah. Mogi could arrange that. I'm sure that could happen.
Yeah, there might be a couple horses I might be able to borrow. So
that was actually the other thing I forgot to mention in my bio. This other just funny little anecdote. When Emily and I started to, she decided she wanted to get more into horses, and I think we had been dating for 1.5 years at this point. She was like, "I need to buy a horse trailer because I'm tired of bumming rides from my friends." And I was like, "Well, I have a horse trailer." And she's like, "What do you mean you have a horse trailer? You don't do horses." And I was like, "Well, no, my parents had a horse trailer, back in the day, and it's just been sitting in my backyard for like 20 years. Oh. So we fixed up the horse trailer, and that's how Emily got started, riding all over the place.
Well, she has a newer horse trailer now, right?
Yes, she got an Adams. She likes that a lot more than the Brender Up.
Yep.
Although the Brender Up, I mean, that was super modern for the day. I mean, that was it.
It was great. We towed it behind my dad's Volvo, his little 850 sedan.
That's why everybody liked that trailer. You could tow it with a Beetle.
That's what they're made for.
Yeah, with a Beetle. I mean, you could tow it with anything.
Yeah.
All right, we have some questions for you before we ask every horse husband. So these are the questions. What is the chore that you hate the most with the horses?
So I'm a real wimp about cold weather. So really just the entire winter.
You're a construction dude.
But that's the thing, because I can schedule like a basement remodel for the winter. So anything involving like water and the winter, I do it. I do it every day, but I hate it. My little hands turn purple and I'm out.
Okay, that's funny. The one thing you refuse to help with in the barn.
So I don't know. It's something I've never done, not something that I like refuse to do, but something that I haven't done before. Emily hasn't taught me how to do it. It's probably a common answer on this show, but the sheath cleaning.
Oh yeah, we don't do that. No, we don't do that.
I know how to do that. You don't want to do that.
I would do it if she asked me to, but I just pray she never asks me to.
Yeah.
We have a sheath cleaning person that does it full time that comes out and does it. So
yeah.
And isn't that a wild way to make a living?
It is.
She has somebody. So our donkey we can't do, but we have this girl who does it, and it's like $10. She comes out. I'm like, how do you make a living doing that? It blows my mind.
And what do you tell the new boyfriend that you on your first date?
So, first date with like a horse girl?
Yeah, no, with the sheath cleaning lady. She's out on her first date.
Oh, God.
Yeah, what is she telling him?
What's she telling him?
Yeah.
Surely there's like a watered down PG version of that that she... Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to imagine myself sitting there. You're out to dinner, and she's sitting across from you, and she says that's what she... I'm trying to imagine what's going through my mind and what my reaction is.
I mean, I have something going through my mind, but I don't think
I know, that's why. Yeah. But you can't say any of it.
I don't want to say it either. It's like, what do you do for lunch? I Nothing. Yeah, don't go there.
Okay, I know that I'm going to have to, one of these Horse Husbands episodes, we're going to have to get the sheath cleaning girl on that we know and ask her that question because I don't know the
I
answer.
can get you her information.
Yeah.
So, Adam, who cooks in your household?
So I'm the cook. Emily does most of the cleaning, but I do all the cooking. I have watched that girl burn water. So if I want to, eat and live, I cook.
Hey, can I tell you guys a story? This happened in the last couple of weeks. So I do the cooking too, most of it, although Jennifer cooked 3 times this week. I think she's buttering me up for something. There must be another horse on the way or something. But so I was also in the insurance business. Is Emily still in insurance, by the way?
Yes, she does commercial insurance.
Yeah, I was in the insurance business for like 15, 16 years. And one year, and this was literally 35 years ago, I won a Weber grill, the nicest Weber grill you could get at the time. I won this Weber grill 35 years ago. We have moved 14 times since then. That Weber grill has come with me, and finally, about 2 weeks ago, it died after 35 years.
Oh my God!
Of heavy use. I've used it. I only replaced the grills. I never replaced any of the gas parts. I never replaced the igniter, and they all worked for 35 years. And now my grill died. And I went out immediately the next day and bought a new Weber grill. I figure it'll be long here, but I'll be dead, and the Weber grill will still be going.
That's the one thing that Emily has on me. If we're like grilling steaks, Emily does the steaks. I do everything else I can cook. I'm just not that good at grilling. And her dad is huge into outdoor cooking, and he will not let me live this down. So one of these days I got to learn.
Is he the smoker dude too? Smokes stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's got the smoker and the Blackstone griddle and all that.
Yeah, I can do all that stuff, but I cannot cook chicken on a grill.
Really? Gets too dry?
It just falls apart. It sticks to the grill.
All right, we're going to have to give you a lesson one of these days when we're together. We'll give you a chicken grilling lesson.
Yeah, because I can smoke meat, I can grill meat, and everything else, beef. But chicken, it doesn't work.
So what's your pickup truck? If you have a choice on pickup truck brand, what is it?
So for my work trucks, I am a Ford guy for the most part.
Yeah. What do you got? What do you use? 250s, 350s?
So I have a 250. I have an E350 box truck.
Oh, yeah.
I've had everything in between, 150s, Rangers, all the way up. Emily has her eye on like a $90,000 GMC.
Don't they all?
Sierra. Yeah. She's like, can you get this for me? I'm like, no.
Guys, think about it. My parents bought their house for like $9,000.
Yep.
I mean, and we're paying $90,000 for a truck.
I bought my first house for $80,000, and I just can't fathom putting that much money into a truck.
It's just crazy. It is crazy.
It is.
I mean, you work in the car business, Rich.
Oh, yeah. No, I know. You don't even want to go there.
I know.
And the stuff they're putting out isn't worth the price.
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, that is the other thing. All right, last question. What advice would you give to someone considering a relationship with a horse person? So we have a brand new horse boyfriend. What would be your one piece of advice?
Honestly, at least from my perspective, Emily can never complain about how much money I spend on tools because of how much she spends on her horses. So I say go for it because you have a blank check to do whatever you want with your money.
Do you have a hobby other than work?
So I like camping. I like skiing. Emily got me into skiing. So she's like the two most expensive hobbies that exist are the two things that she's into. We're actually hoping to go skiing next weekend, but it's going to be like 11 degrees. So I'm not sure how that's going to go.
Yeah. Your aversion to cold will take care of that.
Yeah. I bundle so hard.
Yeah. You have to take Mogi skiing.
We should all go. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, you know why her name's Mogi, correct?
No, I don't think I've heard this.
She was a mogul in her mother's stomach.
Ah.
She comes from a long family history of skiing. So
I didn't even know that.
She's a very pretty skier.
Oh, well.
I wonder if Emily knows that. I'll have to ask her once we get off.
Yeah. No, she is a very good skier. Her father was a ski instructor at Sugar Bowl in California.
Oh, wow.
Or not a ski instructor. Excuse me. He was a patrolman, and used to take. So he would take her up on the hills in the fog, and then make her ski down between his legs down the hill. And then once the fog cleared, he'd take her up and say, "Okay, go do that again." Without help.
How about you, Rich? Do you ski? It sounds like
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I do, but I don't know. Since I had my knee replaced, I'm not sure about that now. But, yeah. But Mogi and I, we skied a lot when we were in California, so it's fun. Kayla skis too.
Well, I think she had told me that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fun getting to know you, and thanks for joining us, Adam. We really appreciate it, and good luck with Cisco. And what's the donkey's name?
His name's just Donkey after Shrek.
There you go. Perfect.
Donkey.
Yep.
Hey,
yeah,
Donkey.
Often said with a Scottish accent. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Well, right after this word from my new horse, we're going to hear from one of our auditor's husbands, our auditor Melanie, and her husband is named Mike, and Mike volunteered for this gig, so let's get Mike on.
For first-time horse owners and new riders, finding the information and support you need can be challenging. That's why Equine Network has partnered with Sentinel and Absorbine to bring you My New Horse. From important horsekeeping information and how-to videos to social media communities, exclusive experiences, and more, My New Horse is your one-stop shop for riders of all levels and disciplines looking for easy-to-understand horse care information and guidance. Start your horse ownership journey today. Visit mynewhorse.com.
Well, hey, Mike, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So your wife is one of our auditors, and I think she's been listening for a while. Her name is Melanie, and I think she's been listening to our show for a while, hasn't she?
She has.
Yeah, I thought so. And you actually volunteered for this gig to come on tonight.
I did. She said it'd be sometimes you do this, and she said, are you willing to do it? I was like, that'd be a lot of fun. So yeah.
Well, good. Well, thank you for volunteering. I appreciate it. Melanie, you're not allowed to listen to this, so I won't thank you for listening.
We had a big conversation about how she wanted to sit in here and listen while I did this.
Oh no, that's not allowed. No.
And then she was like, I'm going to sit outside the door and listen, and I'm like, no, just go watch the play.
That is not allowed. That's
I've got to add in now. Melanie was my Secret Santa.
She was.
Really?
Yeah, I just put this together.
She was, yeah.
And I have no idea how she found where I worked and everything. I don't know how that whole Secret Santa thing worked, but she dropped off my present at my work and said, "Don't tell them, who gave him this is Secret Santa, and he doesn't know me, and I'm going to just drop this off and leave."
She did check with me. She's like, "Do you think this is creepy?" I'm like, "No, not at all."
It wasn't creepy. But I was going to contact her and say, "I want to get your husband on as horse husband," but I guess Glenn beat me to
No,
it.
Mike had already volunteered. I didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, I know. I saw the volunteer. I saw her comment something about volunteering. So
yeah.
That's fine.
That's funny. So, Mike, you have something that I've never seen. We've talked to a lot of people, obviously, over the last 14 years, but you were actually in 3 of the different armed forces. Did you get fired from 2 and then hired in a 3rd? How'd that work?
Well, I was never fired. All right. They kept me around for 21 and a half years. I joined the Marine Corps fresh out of, actually, while I was still in high school, in delayed entry during the Gulf War. So that was a ways back.
Yeah.
Did my 4 years active duty in the Marine Corps in the early to mid 90s. Didn't make a career of it. I thought, I'll do a tour. My dad was a Marine. His dad was a Marine. So,
so he was a proud papa when you joined up.
Oh, yeah. Dad was tickled when I joined. He told me to join the Coast Guard first. And then when he was really happy when I went to the Marine Corps, though. But he, after I did my 4 years active duty, I went back to Gettysburg and got suckered within a month to join the Army National Guard. Some recruiter, pretty slick line, sold me on it. And so I joined the Army National Guard. I did a year in this tri-year program as a forward observer, what they call FIST. I don't even remember what the acronym means. And then I did 3 years in the infantry as a team leader. And this was all pre 9/11. And I left the Army. I wanted to go back to school and, start a career. So I left the Army National Guard in January 2001.
Oh my gosh.
Went back to college, finished grad school. Lily, my daughter, came along. I started my job in the finance industry, and I missed it. And in 2008, the war was still pretty well going. So I enlisted in the Air National Guard in Maryland as a security forces member. So kind of half police, half security in that job, and finished out another 13 years before I retired.
Wow. So you were out and in or you were out and then back in again.
Yeah. I was a very ears broken time. Yeah. I was an old man when I deployed.
That's funny. So thank you, one, for serving 3 different ways. Your country appreciates that. My brother-in-law was Green Beret during the first Gulf War and served on the front lines there. He went in he was one of the first ones to go in when the attack happened in the Kuwait City, I guess, at that point. Wow. Yeah. So, know all about that. Heard all of his stories about eating goat in the desert and, he hasn't eaten goat since then. I can tell you that.
I'll bet.
He's even a little iffy on rice. So, but you were married before, and then when did you meet Melanie?
I met Melanie in 2014, the spring of 2014.
How'd you meet?
Yep. I'm sorry.
How did you meet?
How did we meet? We always like that when people ask this, we lie and we say, "Oh, we were set up by a friend named Gary Gnu." I don't know if you guys remember the puppet Gary Gnu from Great Space Coasters.
No.
We hope other people don't know that when we say that. We met online. I was separated, working towards the divorce, and tried the online thing. And by a weird chance, I was in Pennsylvania and she was in Maryland. And I happened to land at the airport from a military trip I was coming back from. And we matched up right then and there and connected that way. That's where it started.
Rich, that's 2 online ones today. The first one was Facebook. They met on Facebook.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. So you lived in Gettysburg, too, growing up, and I was Lancaster County, and my wife was up in Cumberland County in near Carlisle, so we were all around you. We went to Gettysburg. I love Gettysburg. It was one of our favorite places to go.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. I was just there today, visited. My daughter still lives there, and we were talking how happy I am that she is there as a young adult. It's such a great town, and there's so much history to it. It's just a great place. I love it there.
I'm a history guy, and actually I worked at Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair and then owned my own acting company for 10 years doing medieval feasts. So I'm really into history and reenactments and stuff, and I've never been to the Gettysburg reenactment.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. It's been years, but I know they're always looking for reenactors because they want to keep that spirit alive. So I'm sure you could go check it out.
It just must be amazing to see that many people together doing it.
Oh yeah, I was there for what was it? It was 125th. I was there for that one.
Oh, that was they apparently drew 100,000 people or something. It was crazy.
Huge, tremendous. Yeah. And of course they filmed the movie Gettysburg. When the movie Gettysburg in Gettysburg, they covered the statues with camouflage netting and stuff. So that was kind of neat too. That brought a lot of attention to the town.
Very cool. So now what did you do after, what are you doing now that you retired?
Oh, well, being in the military as a reservist, I only did the deployments and things, but I also did kind of the 1 weekend a month and 2 week summer obligation. And then of course, going overseas. So I had a full-time job. I started in the finance industry in 2004, and I've worked there for 20 years. Before that, I was in mental health. I was a wilderness counselor for about 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Sounds great.
Yeah, adjudicated delinquent males, 14 to 18. They were rough client base.
Oh my God, we could spend an hour talking to you just about those stories.
So I was doing that through college, and then started my job at the bank in 2004, and I've been there ever since.
Wow, that's interesting. So now you met Melanie. You had really no experience? You had the same experience I did with horses, and that's the Amish.
Right, yeah, that's it.
Passing them on the road. That was my experience with horses. You had the same thing, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly that, and like you said, the reenactors riding their horses. Yeah. That's about it.
So
it's been a huge learning curve then.
Yeah,
on the horse.
Or just the language and the terms and there's so much. I mean, I'm still leery of them. They're big and they scare me to death. So
they're just big dogs.
They do, that's funny. It does surprise me how much they're like that. They get emotional and
you just have to watch out for their feet, watch out for their teeth and the back end.
Yes. Yeah. I'm very careful about that, especially strangers. The horses I don't know, I give them a wide berth. Yeah.
And she's a competitor, if I remember right. She's an eventer too, isn't she?
She is. She was just she just did an eventing event.
She did some kind of derby, I think, up at Loch Moy.
Loch Moy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I saw the pictures. Yeah.
Melanie's she has a really robust history in the sport. I mean, she started as a hunter jumper and a working student. And she explained to me when she first started, she was essentially a crash test dummy. Sorry, where they would bring horses off the track and
that was my job.
Yeah, and just hey, is this a good hunter jumper? And she would basically crash, fall off and everything. So yeah, that was her first job. She was telling me. So yeah, and she's done so much in that world. It's wild. She has some wild stories.
What surprised you about all of this?
The community, I think, is what surprised me the most. It's so she has friends for life there. It's really neat. Everybody being a horse person, there's so much adversity and so much responsibility, and there's folks care for another living thing with all their hearts, and it's just so unique. And then they bond over that, and it's such a great community. And I think that blows me away. I never thought for a minute it would be that tight. And the ladies at the barn that she hangs out with, I mean, they're the best of friends. It's amazing. So I think that blows me away more than the animals, and I mean, they're beautiful and they're amazing to watch. And I don't understand why they do the things they do for us. But I think it's the community that's the most amazing part of it.
Yeah, it is amazing how the community works and everything, especially in the eventing. I'm not sure about all the other disciplines because Mogi and I do eventing, and it's not I want to win. Mm-hmm. It's how'd you do today?
Yeah.
I hope it all went well. Mm-hmm. Oh, it didn't go so well. I'm so sorry. And they don't look down on each other. Everybody looks at each other as an equal, and they don't want to. Yeah. It's just it's a fun group to be around, and everything.
They're all just trying not to die, Rich. That's what.
Well, that too. Yes. Yeah.
My wife is an eventer too, so I'm with you.
Yeah. Things happen. Mogi called me on Friday and said she broke her hand, and I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah. So I was sitting at one of Lily's lacrosse games and with one of the other parents, and Melanie was texting me, and I was talking to the parent, and I was like, "Oh, sorry, my wife just texted me. She's just making sure that she didn't break her back again." He's like, "I'm sorry, again? What?"
Yeah. So it's Mogi called me up and said, "Oh, by the way, I broke my hand today." Oh, great.
Did she go to the hospital or not?
No, she did. So it's not displaced this time. This time. So. Yeah, she's they're quite the women.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I've seen Melanie do the hunter jumper thing. I've watched, the dressage, but man, jumping over those and going as fast as they do, it's wild, And we went to the 5-star recently, and that's just a whole nother level of scary.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Mogi actually designs cross country courses all the way up through the 4-star now. So she's working on the 5-star level now.
That's very cool. Yeah, those tables and they're enormous. It's so crazy.
So are you an active horse husband?
I think so. I like to think. Yeah, I mean, we board, so I don't do any of the big chores, but I try and pitch in where I can. I do the trailer maintenance and cleaning, and I power wash it when I can, and do the yearly big deep clean stuff. And I try and participate in a lot of her events. I'm kind of a wannabe photographer, so I like to take a lot of photographs for her and her friends. It keeps helps with my eye, and it helps me with them kind of enjoy their experience.
Well, it gives you something to do too while you're there.
Yeah. And I can still be participatory and help her wherever she needs it, but yeah, that's all I can pitch in. I mean, like people ask me if, are you into horses? And I always tell them I just know how much they cost and that mine is big and brown, is what I say. And they laugh because, they probably don't know I know better, but.
Well, you know what? Keep it that way. The less you admit to, the less is expected of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't want to go on and on about, well, my wife's a Cleveland Bay Horse Society of North America board member, and
is she? I didn't know that part.
I could go down and they'd tell them, my horse is 3/4 or 1/4 Cleveland. The other one's 7/8 Cleveland.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's really supportive of the breed. I know that's I don't know. I don't know if endangered is the.
No, we have good friends that are involved in it in Louisiana.
Yeah. She's her good friend Sharon, who actually is raising our little one right now, teaching him good manners up in PA. She got her into it, and she's a very big ambassador for the breed, and I could tell them things like that, like I know my horse is a bay, but I don't. I just joke about being brown.
Yeah, all the listeners keep saying after doing this for a long time and owning horses and things that I can't be calling myself a horse owner anymore. I'm actually a horse guy, but I have a rule: I don't put the bridle on. Yeah, I don't do that. She has to do that. So there's my line, right? That's my line in the sand that keeps me a horse husband. I don't know if that's an actual rule. I made that up. But
does a horse husband only if you don't actually ride? Is that the rule?
No, but my rule is I don't put the bridle. I drive. I give carriages, so I drive. And I've actually owned more horses at times than she has, but I don't put the bridle on. So that's how I stay a horse husband. I don't do that. I don't go that far.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's my line in the sand.
You don't put the bridle on?
No, she does that. I don't do that.
Oh,
I never have. That's my rule. So I can't go without her because
you just have to stick your thumb in the mouth.
Yeah, I don't do that part. No. All right, we have 5 questions for you that we ask every horse husband. You probably know these. What is the chore that you hate the most with horses?
Well, like I said, we board, so pretty lucky that way. I think I would say when I'm like a substitute teacher when the kids take advantage of. When she asks me to watch him, he'll tend to get away. So I think when she goes to register or something, she'll be like, "Hey, can you hold Capella?" And I'll be like, "Sure." Or just watch him. And he manages to get away from me sometimes. So I think that's the worst part.
You're the loose horse at the show.
I am that guy. Yeah, more than one.
Loose horse.
Like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
It's Mike's.
It's Mike's horse. Yep.
That's funny. The one thing you refuse to help with at the barn.
That's right.
So, is there anything you refuse to help with at the barn?
Oh, no. I never try anything that she. I'll pitch in wherever I can.
Who cooks?
Oh, Melanie, definitely. Yeah,
really? Wow.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. I was, so when she met me, I think I could make peanut butter and jelly and spaghetti. That was about it.
Wow.
So if Melanie wants to eat, she had to be the cook, is what it came down to.
Definitely. And she's very good. Her parents owned restaurants, and she's, she's a terrific cook and baker too. So which is dangerous around the holidays.
You got lucky, buddy.
I did.
You did.
Very much.
What's your pickup truck brand of choice?
I am a fan of Toyota.
Really? Wow, that's a first.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. I mean, Melanie drives the 4Runner. Land Cruisers, Heluxes, which are big pickups overseas. I've had a lot of good experiences with Toyotas in adverse conditions. So I really think
you really have driven in adverse. You probably driven the Fords and all of those over there.
Yeah, we had a big Ford. We had a bunch of Suburbans blacked out like Secret Service style, and we had a couple Toyotas, and I definitely like the Toyota.
Wow, that's interesting. Do they even use Jeeps anymore?
Not really. No,
Jeep
not like
brand Jeeps.
Yeah, M151 Jeep. No, it's mostly Humvees for administration or big white like Dodge pickup trucks.
Huh. Dodge is the pickup of choice now?
I think it is. I want to say it was Dodge. Yeah, we had like an administrative vehicle. I was in charge of all the vehicles in my unit overseas, and we had everything from these big Batmobile armored cars with machine guns all the way down to that administrative vehicle and it was I still like the Toyotas the most.
There you go. Are you still buddies with any of your
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Best man at my buddy's wedding a couple years ago. My friend Ron still comes over for Thanksgiving every year. We text and back and forth every day. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. We most of us have had multiple deployments together too, so we're definitely close.
So now this is totally off the topic, but I wanted to ask you because I've had experience with a lot of people who were in military as career. Did you have a period of time after you left? Well, you left twice. So I would say the second time. Obviously, the first time you had some yearning to go back, but after you left the second time, did you have a wind down period where it was like kind of felt you didn't because you weren't full time, so you maybe didn't have that.
No, that's a great question. And it was 3 years ago this week that I retired. I think I was really done at that point. I mean, I was, I joined in 1991 1991. So I was very old for a military member and, well past normal retirement age. And I just think I was finished.
Yeah.
I do miss the deployments. I'm not going to lie. The sense of purpose you get in a deployment is like no other.
And that's what I was trying to get at, adrenaline and that, that's what I found that people tend to miss.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. The adrenaline I can take or leave, but definitely the sense of purpose. And again, like the horse world, the community is amazing. I mean, you when you get a good crowd, I was blessed every time with a good team, usually hand selected folks. I was really lucky, and I think that's why we stay together to this day and hang out and go hiking together and everything. But I think it's the sense of community and the sense of purpose I miss. And but I think I was done. Really, I'm broken and old now. So
my brother retired from the Air National Guard, and he basically got to the point where he just felt going out and doing the missions. He was a fighter pilot, and just going out and doing what they did, it got so repetitive. He was just done at that point in time and didn't want to retire and join the civilian force and fly a bus. Mm-hmm. So he retired and became a nurse.
So that's a completely different change, right? I mean,
good career jump.
Yeah. So he's retiring as a nurse now. So,
so my brother-in-law was 43 when he retired from Green Berets. He was one of the oldest ones still active. He did it for like 25 years. And he then went and got a job sitting at a desk at a computer doing Microsoft stuff. But what he missed is because of the Green Berets parachute a lot. He kind of missed parachuting, but his knees were shot. He did like 300 jumps and his knees were shot, but he still missed that thrill. So he ended up, and he also missed playing with the guns because Green Berets, they do a lot of that. So he ended up being a cowboy shooter. One of those in competitions.
Yeah, that's a great sport.
Yeah, he loves it. Gets all dressed up in the cowboy outfits and goes out with his six guns and
almost like reenacting. Right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they do that almost every weekend.
Yeah, I mean that's some of the things when I look at my hobbies, hiking and shooting are two of my big hobbies. So like I guess I still do the same kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you get a little bit of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, last question. What advice would you give? Again, you're fairly new to this because you just got married, 6 years ago. What advice would you give to someone considering a relationship with a horse person?
Have something of your own. they are, if they're very active, I think they're going to be away a lot. They're going to be active with their friends. They're going to be at the barn. They're going to be, going to the vets. They're going to be with the farrier. There's always so many things you guys are doing. And that's if you're even bored. I can't imagine owning your own property and all the stuff you deal with there. I would say have your own thing because you're going to be by yourself a lot.
Did that bother you at first?
Not at all. No. I think being older and being both very independent people with a lot of hobbies already, I think it worked out really well. And when Melanie, it's funny, it's a long story, but when Melanie and I met, she was taking kind of a break. Her one horse had passed, and she couldn't get the spirit of things anymore, and she kind of took a step away. And I would hear stories about and Krasinski and George Morris, and I used to go to this and do that, and there were pictures, but I never saw her do anything. She didn't have any tack in her house besides her old saddle. It was like completely, like she was not in the horse world at all. And then we kind of adopted a old dressage horse in Gettysburg, and she was like, "Hey, I think we should. This horse is going to Canada, and I don't. That's not a good thing from my understanding."
No, they end up on the plate.
Someone go ahead and grab them up. Well, she was like, "Oh, I'll just work for his board." So that was Mallow, our big Irish warm blood, and he was great. He passed recently, but so that was our first horse together, and then, like I said, when I think we talked about it earlier, when I was deployed in 2018. She started to ride on the weekends again and just went right back into it. When I came home, we bought the horse, and she's been going ever since. So now she's really into it, and I can see how active and how much she does. It's definitely have a hobby because you might be a horse widower more than a horse husband sometimes.
That's good advice. Actually, that's really good advice. Well, thank you so much, Mike, for joining us and for volunteering to do this. We really appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you, Mike.
It's been fun.
Great meeting you both, and thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, Rich, fun guests today. I really enjoyed both of them. They had a lot in common, actually. There were some similarities there. I really like what Mike said about having a hobby. It's something we've talked about a lot here on the show, but I do think that when the guy has a hobby, it tends to go better when they each have a separate thing. And then you're not obsessing all the time about what she's doing, right? So you have your own thing. And it sounds like they're very well balanced that way.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Actually, I kind of have hobbies that I do when Mogi's gone, so that she doesn't know
you
about,
like cars. You tinker,
Yeah, I tinker. I have a car I tinker on.
Yeah. I mean, you're always kind of, you're a car guy. So that counts,
Yep.
For sure. Well, thank you for joining us today. Now we're back on track for this year. Hopefully, we're going to be here the fourth Thursday of every month talking to horse husbands. We hope you enjoy this. Obviously, we always tried to say that women aren't allowed to listen to this episode, but they never listen anyway, and they always listen. They never listen to us. So I don't even say it anymore because I know they're going to listen just because they want to hear what we're saying about them. But you know what? You can listen. We'll let you. Now, you're married to Mogi. What's Mogi's website?
Actually,
or Facebook?
Not a really good website, but Foxhill Eventing on Facebook.
Okay.
And it has a bunch for her outings and what she does listed there. So you can go there and find out all about Mogi and myself. I show up there once in a while.
Well, I'm hoping to see her when we go to Aiken. I'll have to make sure we get together.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her in a while. So, all right. Well, then, thanks, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate it. Tomorrow is going to be... What's tomorrow? Let me think. Tomorrow, we're going to have a show here for you. It's Friday, so it'll be Really Bad Ads Day. And we look forward to seeing you then. Thanks, Rich.
Okay. You're welcome, Glenn. Thank you very much.